Government secures 100 million euro grant from Germany for infrastructure projects.
Ghana hosts 5-day ECOWAS summit on agreed to find solutions to fruit flies invasion.
Over 1,000 people displaced by tidal waves in the Volta region. Good evening and welcome to News Hour, live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. My name is Emmanuel Amagashi.
I'm Thelma Taki. With us in the studio to translate the news into sign language is Robert Frimpong Manso. Our first story.
Ghana has secured a 100 million euro grant from the German government as part of a Compact with Africa program, and this is to boost infrastructure and improve private sector investments.
Interacting with the Ghanaian community in Berlin, the Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, explained that Ghana was signed onto the pact due to efforts by the government to put her economy on track.
The president is in Berlin to participate in the G20's Africa Partnership Summit for selected African countries. On the sidelines of the summit, the president met with the Ghanaian community in Germany to brief them on events back home.
To jiggle the public finances to create a space, $100 million as a stimulus package for distressed industries. We have taken off over 1 billion cedis worth of revenue from the state has gone in taxes that we have abolished, all nuisance taxes that were only complicating and burdening private enterprise in Ghana, so that those monies that have been taken out of the public exchequer can stay with private enterprises and they can use it to invest and grow the economy of our country. At the same time, because we have the two main areas of our concentration, our industry and manufacturing sector, as well as our agricultural sector, we've also introduced a program we call Planting for Food and Jobs to revive our agriculture.
The Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, said Ghana is one of the beneficiaries of Germany's Compact with Africa program, which aims to support some selected African countries to improve conditions for sustainable private sector investment. It will also consider investment in infrastructure and create employment in selected African countries. Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Tunisia, Morocco and Rwanda have already signed onto the compact. 3 out of 5 beneficiary countries, including Ghana, will be giving 100 million euros each.
There's a new confidence that Ghana is coming back, Ghana is back. Because this compact program that we had, that the Germans had of Africa, there were 5 countries before we came. We were nowhere near it. With the work that he has been doing and we all have been helping, the Germans decided that, you know, why don't we get Ghana involved in this? And that's how we have qualified today. So, you know, it was a real sign of confidence for us for that. And we thought that was over. Then they came back a couple of weeks later in March and said, you know, this G20 that we are doing, we should really put our money where our mouth is. So let's select 3 countries in Africa where we can have a bilateral relationship with. And they selected 2 who are already in the compact, which is Tunisia and Cote d'Ivoire, and they said Ghana be part of it. So, and you know, it's great for people to talk, but not only that, they said, well, here's another 100 million euro, do something with it. So you can begin to see the response the world is having to what we did.
Mr. Ofori-Atta said government has instituted measures to reduce the budget deficit from 9% to 6.5%. Members of ECOWAS are meeting in Accra to discuss an action plan against the invasion of fruit flies in the sub-region. The fly, which was first discovered in East Asia, was detected in Kenya in 2005 and later spread to other countries on the continent.
The origin of fruit fly, known in horticulture as Bactocera dorsalis, attacks pineapples, mangoes, melons, citrus, chilies and vegetables. Since the invasion, the EU markets have either destroyed, rejected or reduced the number of consignments of fresh produce detected to have the fruit fly, with farmers and exporters being the most affected. To address the challenge, ECOWAS approved a support project for the monitoring and control of the fruit fly in the sub-region. It's been a year since the National Fruit Fly Committee was constituted in Ghana, but little has been achieved.
We have been slowly warming up to the activities outlined in the project implementation. Whilst we wish we could run, we have been held back a little so as not to outrun the other countries. This situation has been very frustrating for us, and our farmers have not forgiven us for this. This meeting, therefore, is very much welcome. At least it reassures our farmers that though we are not moving as fast as they wish us to be, we shall surely get to them.
A 23 million euro financial assistance from Agence Française de Développement, the EU and ECOWAS has been approved towards the implementation of the project. This includes capacity building, monitoring, research, education and pest control among others. The donor partners urged member countries to speed up work to rid the sub-region of the fruit fly. This is the third regional planning summit and members are optimistic of achieving the targets.
We all need to ensure that there is a zero tolerance of insect damage and, for that matter, fruit fly damage to our mango cultivation in the sub-region. We are emphasizing on a zero tolerance because typically farmers have maintained a heavy prophylactic spray schedule on their farms, and this has serious environmental consequences, and therefore we need to look at issues of pesticides, high levels of pesticides residues in harvested fruits of mangoes in the country.
For now, funds have been made available for the training of 2,000 farmers in fruit fly control and surveillance in Ghana. The 8 beneficiary countries are Ghana, the Gambia, Benin, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea. The summit ends on June 17, 2017. Newly appointed envoys to various missions abroad have been equipped with skills to function effectively. At an orientation, the senior minister, Mr. Iyao Usafomafo, urged them to work together with leaders of other countries to tackle hindrances to regional integration, which include money laundering, illicit trade arms, as well as human trafficking.
The ambassadors designate have been tasked to work assiduously towards the objective of linking businessmen with foreign counterparts in strategic alliances and partnerships to develop the private sector in the country. They are also expected to invest in mobilization in the diaspora for national development. In an interview with GBC24, some of the newly appointed envoys said they will ensure that the region attains peace, security and stability for sustainable development.
China being one of the leading economies, as a matter of fact the second largest economy currently, it's important to look at that aspect, and I believe as the deputy going with an astute businessman who is going to be the substantive, our focus primarily would be on getting economic benefits for our country.
It's a kind of admonition by the president to tell us to go and work hard out there to bring goodwill to Ghana and to Ghanaians. You know, Ghana is suffering from unemployment, and like he said, you know, it's only industrialization that can bring about employment to our people.
I'm going to do my best that I can bring investors into Ghana to develop our economy.
After a week-long induction course for the ambassadors designate, the senior minister, Mr. Yao Safumafo, entreated the newly appointees to redouble their efforts in exploring opportunities for appropriate technology, financial and technical support to help in the creation of jobs for the teeming unemployed in the country.
We've not really, as a country, benefited in terms of maximum from our high commissioners and ambassadors. We've not exploited in full. We could have benefited much better than we have done in the past. And I think we have to look at it again. I believe that you would not fail the nation in this endeavor and therefore justify your selection as worthy ambassadors of this land.
Ghana's High Commissioner designate to Canada, Mr. Yukoi Otu, on behalf of his colleagues, expressed gratitude to President Akufo-Addo for the honor done them. The first batch of 8 ambassadors to head Ghana's missions abroad have been sworn in by President Nana Akufo-Addo. For GBC24, Ofoyewa Dakon reporting.
We're sorry for the break in transmission. It was due to power failure. Workers of the Ghana Railway Company have pledged their support for the government in its determination to revive the sector. Rail transport is central to an improved and efficient transportation as the country moves to further open up the economy.
The Ghana Railway Company Limited is a public sector entity with the responsibility for the efficient management of the national rail system so as to enhance the smooth movement of goods and passengers. Currently, the company's cargo haulage hovers around 70,000 tons of manganese. Efforts by government over the years to revive the rail industry through various initiatives did not see the light of day. However, the creation of the Ministry of Railway Development by the current government is seen by the stakeholders, particularly the workers, as the last chance for the resuscitation of the country's railway industry. And the workers thereby in secondary, the staff who seem not to be happy with the present state of affairs pledged to support the government to redevelop the sector. The General Secretary of the Railway Workers Union, Mr. Godwill Intama, said the hardship that the workers have gone through has motivated them to do their best. He cautioned them against negative tendencies such as laziness, stealing, and poor attitude to work, adding that the new leadership will not tolerate such behavior.
We are happy about the news to revive the railways. The decision is good, but we have to work effectively towards it.
At an open forum, workers raised concerns about their low salaries, the lack of tools to work with, preference given to road transport over rail transport and the haulage of bulk cargo, and the seeming neglect of the railways. The managing director of the company, Mr. John Issel, assured workers that efforts are underway to address their concerns. The Minister for Railway Development, Mr. Joe Gate, said the ministry is working assiduously to transform the sector.
When we work and make money, a company must decide how much its workers must earn. Now, when it's not difficult for you because your salaries are so low there, the board will decide. If 70,000 tons you can pay yourselves, then if you do twice that amount, then this negotiation won't negotiate in January.
The Ministry of Gender and Social Protection has disbursed monies to beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program, LEAP, in the Central Region. The payment is in line with the government's policy to address poverty in the rural communities. The payment was supervised by the Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Madam Otiko Jaba.
About 10,000 households are beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program in the central region. At Ndasima in the Infantsiman municipality, 270 beneficiaries made up of widows, widowers, orphans and older people received monies for their upkeep. Interacting with the beneficiaries, the Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Madam Otikwa Jaba, said the ministry is putting measures in place to equip the beneficiaries, especially the young ones, with vocational skills to support them.
The first beneficiary, you get about 64 Ghana cedis if you are one person in a household. If you are two, you get 76 Ghana cedis. If that is two beneficiaries. If you are three, then you get 88 Ghana cedis. And if you are four and above, you get 106. So that means that you could be aged, you could have a lactating mother with a child under 2, you could have an orphan, and you could also have a child who is or a widow as part of it, or a disabled person who is not productive. These are some of the categories. With the widows, we are now bringing them on, not yet.
Madam Otiko Jaba cautioned the beneficiaries not to pay money to anyone before they receive their LEAP benefits. The beneficiaries were grateful to the government for the assistance. Madam Otiko Jaba later visited the Fistula Center at Mankesim, where some women were undergoing treatment.
Welcome to business. Ghana has been awarded the hosting rights for the 45th African Insurance Organization AIL Conference and Annual General Assembly in 2018. This was announced at the 44th AIL Conference in Kampala, Uganda.
Of the insurance industry, insurance training centers, national and regional insurance associations, as well as regulatory and supervisory bodies. The African Insurance Organization, AIO, was established in 1972 as a non-governmental organization recognized by many African governments. The AIO currently has about 365 members. Out of that number, 351 are from 47 countries in Africa and 16 associate members from 8 overseas countries. Prior to the affirmation of Ghana's bid to host the 2018 event, the Secretary General of AIO, Madame Prisca Suarez, visited Ghana in January this year to inspect the suitability and availability of facilities. According to her, she was satisfied with preparations done so far. Ghana last hosted the AIO conference in 2005.
President Donald Trump has promised to sweep away outmoded air traffic systems controls and replace them with the best, newest and safest technology available.
Control tower at John F. Kennedy International Airport, air traffic controllers can track planes traveling hundreds of miles away. But when it's time for a controller to hand off responsibility for watching a flight, the technology becomes faulty. Trump's solution is to split air traffic control away from the Federal Aviation Administration and privatize it under a not-for-profit independent corporation. Billions of dollars in government and private contracts ride on the conversion of the nation's air traffic control system to satellite-based GPS. A federal modernization program known as Next Gen has already targeted traditional ground-based radar and other aging technologies for replacement. Still, the United States lags well behind other countries including Canada, Ireland and Denmark, whose satellite-based GPS systems are slated to go live next year. Private sector companies angling for a piece of this business-wide commercial potential for products unleashed by the U.S. modernization, including digital cockpit messaging, live monitoring of aircraft engines and systems, advanced weather maps, and faster internet service for passengers. The aim was to boost the capacity of the U.S. aviation system to handle more planes, cut flight delays and improve safety.
The pound has fallen sharply after the UK election, resulting in a hung parliament. Sterling's value had dropped overnight, and as trading got underway in London, it slipped further, standing 2% lower at about $1.27, with markets worried about continued political uncertainty. Now, tidal waves have displaced over 1,000 people of Blekusu and its surrounding community in the Ketu South district of the Volta region, and this is set to be the worst in recent times. The Volta Regional Minister visited Blekusu and its surrounding areas to ascertain the situation on the ground concerning tidal waves that ravaged the area. He was informed that over 1,000 people have been displaced in the latest floods. He has therefore tasked the Ketu South Municipal Assembly to prepare a layout to relocate the inhabitants to higher grounds. Communities mostly affected are Blekusu, Agavaji, Amujinu, and Salakopa. The floods have cut off the main Kata-Danu road. Fisher folks were seen salvaging some of their fishing nets, boats and other valuable items washed away by the floods. Some of them were pumping water out of their flooded households and packing some belongings. The Volta Regional Coordinator of NADMO, Mr. Divine Borson, disclosed that his outfit has already registered over 1,000 victims.
As of now, we are still registering. So far, my team has registered 186 households. 186 households for Blekusu alone. We are currently in Blekusu, but it cuts across Agaveji, Amukinu, and Asarakope. We have registered 30 households at Agaveji.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, assured the victims of government support. He said that arrangements have been made with NADMO to relocate the victims temporarily to seek shelter in classrooms while measures are being put in place to solve the problem.
So for now, the immediate thing, we are happy that we haven't lost any life here. And the immediate thing is to get them a place to spend the night. And because of that, the school here will not be in session tomorrow. We're discussing that with the headmistress, the secretary supervisor, the municipal director of education, and the regional director of education, so that we use the place as a shelter for.
Business News was brought to you by kindness of NIB and Ernest Chemist. We take a break here.
Thanks for staying on. Some health news now. Cerebral palsy is a leading cause of childhood disability. There is no cure for it, but supportive treatment, medications and surgery can help many individuals to improve their motor skills and ability to communicate with the world. GBC24's Mavis Ofei Champong brings you more on this childhood disability.
16-year-old Madeline is amongst the many children suffering from cerebral palsy, a condition that mostly affects children. It is a neurological disorder that appears in infancy or early childhood and permanently affects the body movement and muscle coordination. It is caused by a damage to the developing brain that disrupts the brain's ability to control movement and maintain posture and balance. The damage sometimes is as a result of injury to the brain, either before, during or after birth. Like Madeline, she was not born with the condition, but was detected after age 1 when she started developing the symptoms, which include weakness in her leg and arms, stiff and tight muscles. According to her mother, Madame Juliana Ejei, Madeline can talk, but it is minimal. I tried to get Madeline to talk, but she just smiled at me.
It is very difficult taking care of a child with cerebral palsy. You need someone with a big heart to take care of them. It takes me about 30 minutes to dress her up.
Unlike Madeline, who at least can say a word to her mother, Parkwesi can't talk at all. Though his condition has affected his brain, he can hear, react to a scent or call, and is sometimes able to grab a biscuit. According to Pakwesi's mother, Madame Gifty Akuyelai, he only becomes stable after taking his drugs. She said access to the drugs are sometimes quite expensive.
If you have such a child, you can't work. We plead that the government at least put some of these children with autism, Down syndrome and cerebral palsy on the LEAP program.
Health experts say symptoms of cerebral palsy differ in type and severity from person to person and may even change over time depending on which parts of the brain have been injured. Madame Janet Togbo El Ashka, the leader for Passion for Needy, who presented some bags of rice, sugar, oil, toilet rolls, diapers and soap through the YOA Foundation, who support these cerebral palsy mothers, advise parents with children with cerebral palsy to see them as a blessing and not a curse.
This donation comes on every year, 12th of June, to mark our founder's birthday. The cerebral palsy persons, let us help the parents so that they will care for them. They are special people, every one of them.
The facilitator for YOA Foundation, Madame Benedicta Odro, who was grateful for the support from Passion for Needy, said YOA Foundation intends to provide a center that will bring all cerebral palsy children together to assist them through training and relieve their mothers of some of the burdens they go through.
It's time that the society accept them. The stigmatization is too much, and because of that, they don't want them.
The cause of cerebral palsy is unknown, but genetic abnormalities, congenital brain, maternal infections, or fatal injury has been associated with this condition. For GBC24, Mavis of Fairchapel reporting.
Non-state actors in the health sector has been launched. That's a charter for non-state actors in the health sector has been launched in Accra. The charter spells out strategic policies to address challenges facing the sector. Stakeholders say the numerous challenges in the health sector require concerted efforts to solve them.
A 7-member non-state actors committee has been formed to coordinate activities of the health sector in the country. Non-state actors play a significant role in global health, especially in advocacy and promotion of public health. The WHO has adopted a framework of engagement with non-state actors over the years. However, there is more to be done to achieve the set goals locally. Stakeholders see the launch of the non-state actors of health delivery in Ghana as timely. The set goal is to improve health delivery for the majority of Ghanaians, especially the vulnerable and the underprivileged. Another target is to ensure accountable governance in health delivery for a strong and self-sustaining health system. The Chief Executive of John Snow International, Dr. Henry Nagai, said effective advocacy in the health sector will promote health literacy.
We know state institutions are doing what they can, but non-state actors should be positioned to support the dialogue, should be positioned to move decision-making and opinion at community level to impact on the policy decisions that will enable government to work to meet the needs of the Ghanaian people.
The consortium of the non-state actors is made up of the Society for Women and AIDS in Africa, West African AIDS Foundation, and the Hope for Future Generations. The Executive Director of Hope for Future Generations, Cecilia Senu, said the consortium is being positioned to champion issues confronting the health sector and ensure that policies on health are improved.
You're still watching the health news on GBC24. 44 women have been rescued from 4 human traffickers at a border checkpoint at Aflao in the Volta region.
Yes, for some of them, it was due to ignorance, but for some, they were very much aware of the whole process, and they were happy to be leaving the country to another country where they think life will be a bit easier for them. We are conducting further investigations to know if there are some kingpins behind this whole process, because they were able to procure their passports and tickets. So it looks like there's a bigger fish behind this whole syndicate.
Health News was brought to you by FPAC and Yamvita. There's more ahead. Please stay with us.
Hello, good evening. Let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa, going straight to Kumasi, where the head coach of the senior national male football team, Mr. Kwesi Appiah, has denied suggestions that there is a captaincy rift between Asamoah Gyan and Dede Ayew. In what is likely a first in international football, Black Stars skipper Asamoah Gyan wore a customized captain's armband for Ghana's 5-0 win over Ethiopia. This development has led to some controversy on the media front.
And Captain Asamoah Gyan wore for the Stars' comfortable win was in the red, gold and green colors of Ghana, but had his portrait on it. He failed to hand over the captain's armband to deputy skipper Andre Dede Ayew when he was substituted in the second half, creating a perceived rift between the duo over who leads the team. But head coach Mr. Kwesi Appiah has dismissed such suggestions.
There's nothing going on in the team. There's so much peace, there's so much unity, and discipline for me is so the highest that I've seen since I was here some years back, and for me now there's so much discipline and unity in the team. What happened was the captain band has been customized with Jan's picture on it. So we are all aware that in case he's being changed, we cannot give a customized Joe to Dede. So the idea was, in case he's being changed during the game, you need to give Dede the original one that is from the club. Yes. You can see his picture on it. It's allowed. He did this. Asamoah Gyan is the captain of the team. So if he does customize what we call it, the captainship band, I don't see any issues. For me, I keep saying, for me, captain should not be an issue. Today during my meeting with the players, I told them, look, on the pitch, everybody is a captain. The goalkeeper is a captain because he controls the defenders. The defenders are captain of the midfielders. The midfielders control the attackers. So I don't know why always this thing becomes an issue.
Finally, let's still stay in the Garden City and still talk Black Stars, where Stars captain Asamoah Gyan on Sunday made history by notching his 50th career goal for Ghana against the Wireless Antelopes. The 31-year-old who made his debut against Somalia in 2003 at the same venue opened the scoring for the Stars on the 10th minute. We're still staying in Kumasi, where the Ministry of Youth and Sports has announced a bonus structure that will cater for both the Stars World Cup qualifier and the 2019 Cameroon AFCON qualifiers and the tournament matches. This was disclosed in a press conference in Kumasi on Monday, June 12, by the Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Pius Nnam Hajidi. That's all for sports.
Hello, good evening. This segment is brought to you by Carbell. My name is Valerie Danso. Adumako, a high life musician, says he hopes to rekindle love for high life music in Ghana through his music. He shared his views on the music industry during an interview here on GBC24.
High life is thought to be a reserve of the elderly in society. Old-timers like Ejako Nimo led a crusade for the popularization of high life. Singers like Amachi Dede, Daddy Lumba, Kwabna Kwabna and Bisa Kade have also joined the crusade. Young musical talents are still learning from the genre. One of such talents is Adomako. He told us why he chose to do high life.
High life is our root. Yes. When you talk of hip-hop, it will take you to America. That is where you see the Jay-Z's, the DMS doing their hip-hop. And when you go to Jamaica, you see dancehall. When you go to the Caribbean, you see the Afro-Caribbean thing. So Ghana, you see the Ajako Nimo type, you see the Kakako type. You see, that is our roots. And then somebody brought a new name from somewhere and added to it. So now you feel whatever they are doing now is still the roots of what. You can't forget your root and live and sustain. Any tree that forgets its root can't sustain and it will suddenly die off. So they will go and still come back.
To some tidbits. The segment was brought to you by Cowbell.
June is the peak of the rainy season over the southern sector, and as we are progressing towards the end, and the rain will also be reducing. But for the meantime, make good use of your umbrellas and your raincoats. Till we meet same time is.
That was the weather report, and this is how we draw the curtain on News Hour for this edition. Join us again at 10 for the late edition. Till then, have a good evening.